Thank you.
Mhm. So, oh, there he is. Now we're at full strength. Wait until he gets on camera. If he's going to. Okay, since he's on and it doesn't look like he's muted, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the May 21st Tree Commission meeting.
So moved.
Okay, and second?
A second.
Okay. Roll?
Piano, aye. Lash,
Aye.
Bradenberg,
Aye.
Wyatt.
Aye.
The motion to approve the minutes passes 4-0.
Okie doke. Looking at our agenda, brochure updates, we don't have any yet. However, Casey Shevlin and I had a conversation last week about some resources we might be able to use to get the information that I think ought to be in our brochure. You know, how many gallons of water trees soak up and how many trees does it take to raise our urban canopy 1%, things like that. And she talked about a program at the university, and it's EX and then bracket, open bracket, L, close bracket, center, the Excel Center. And they have students there who may be able to provide us some of that research. So we talked about that. And I'm going to wait until, we do have, provided John Malish was right, and I have no reason to believe he's not, we have $25,000 or less, less the t-shirts left in our budget. So we will be able to pay them. And we're going to work on that. Casey was going to approach the university to find out how we get started. A tree of the month and tree recognition, Jeff was working on that, and he's not here today. And volunteers for tree inventory, we're still waiting on that. And outreach to council members. I think that's an ongoing process.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. I do have some information that Jeff wanted me to share about the tree of the month. He was
okay, good.
Quotes for possibly some signs to use. He got a quote for two-sided signs would be $15.60 each. I did not have the name of who he spoke with, but that will at least give us an estimate of what to.
Okay, and I'm assuming that's the corrugated plastic signs.
My understanding.
$15.20, and that's per sign or per side?
$15.60 each for a two-sided sign.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got that. Now we need to get a design. And I think probably our logo and the Tree City USA logo would make the most sense. Maybe we'll see if there's somebody in the mayor's office who might be able to do a graphic, a few examples of a graphic so that we can see what it would look like. Thank you for that, Sarah. Okay. New business. First on our agenda is Jessica Glazowski from the watershed talking about Project Acorn. I know we've mentioned this in the past, but she's going to give us the real deal.
Hi, yeah. If you don't mind, I'm gonna steal the screen and give you guys a quick presentation, and I can make the slides for this presentation available afterwards. I would like to I don't want to spend like too much time on it. Let's see. Give me just a second. That way, if you guys have questions or whatever, you can, might just be easier. Okay, so we begin. Here we go. So everybody can see that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. So, Project Acorn is a grant project the city had applied for, through the USDA, the Department of Forestry, last year, and we were fortunate enough to receive this grant, although it's a lot smaller than originally we had planned on. So Project Acorn stands for Akron Community Owned Reforestation Network. So like I said, it's a USDA grant funded urban forestry program. And ours has a couple of major focuses. This grant really focuses heavy on trying to focus in urban canopy, in underserved, underprivileged communities, and reaching out, connecting those communities and developing a workforce within those communities. So our 4 goals with Project Acorn are workforce development, community involvement, education and outreach, urban forestry, and an urban forestry education center. So we're going to touch on all of those. So the grant itself focuses on 5 underserved neighborhoods in Akron. So East Akron, South Akron, Middlebury, Sherburne Hill, and Summit Lake. So these communities were chosen. We looked at a ton of different data sets. We looked at things like graduation rates. We looked at urban canopy cover. We looked at urban heat. We looked at air quality. We looked at occurrence of asthma. We looked at average income. We looked at distance to walkable distance to green spaces. And we did this for all the communities in Akron, and these were the 5 that stood out. We also chose these 5 in particular because they are all connected. So it's a lot easier because there aren't going to be as hard lines to say, oh, well, we can plant trees on this street, but not that street because that street's a different community. So this kind of helps us connect urban canopy in a corridor. It can help us be able to have kind of a nice influence on these communities without having hard stops between them. So those are the communities and why we chose those. Okay, so a couple of things that we'll be doing. Like I said, we're working to reconnect green spaces. And we're going to do this by really focusing on native trees and agroforestry. And agroforestry, just to define it there, is growing different types of trees and understory species as well that can provide food sources for communities. So we want to focus on native trees. I think you guys are probably more than familiar with the benefits of native trees and why we want to really focus on, getting rid of invasive trees, focus on bringing back trees that are more conducive to the biodiversity that we're trying to aim for in the city with growing out our urban canopy. But then we also want to bring in fruiting and nutting tree species, and then public engagement on that aspect. What we want to do is really focus in these communities with talking to the community members before we just start planting trees. We want to know where people want these trees, we want to know what they want. We also want to have that opportunity to engage the public and say, here's the list of native trees that we have available that we can procure for you guys. Where do you want them? Here's what you could do with apple trees, or mulberry trees, or we're going to plant a whole bunch of blueberries or something like that, so that it's not just, oh my gosh, these just keep dropping fruit and that attracts wasps and now it's a public nuisance or something. We want to get ahead of all of that. We really want to make sure that these, whatever installations, whatever plantings that we do, are what the community wants and needs, and not just, hey, let's throw a bunch of trees out into the world. So we really want to be mindful with what we pick, where we put it, and the conversations surrounding all of that. The second part of Project Acorn is the workforce development piece. And so this is a really big part of the grant. So this is a 5-year grant, and the workforce development is going to take up 3 solid years of this grant. There are 2 different groups that we are targeting for this workforce development program. We have partnered with Akron Zoo, and we have partnered with Truly Reaching You Ministries. So we'll have 2 classes each year, so for a total of 6 classes. And we only have funding available to have 6 individuals per class. We originally were going to do 5 years of classes, so we would have 10 classes, and we were planning on 10 students per cohort. But unfortunately, we did not receive the full amount of the grant that we had requested, so we had to curb that back pretty hard. So Akron Zoo is going to help. Well, they're going to run a young adult at-risk program. So that's 18 to 24-year-olds. We're partnering with the Summit County Juvenile Court and Akron Public Schools. And what we're going to try and do is find young adults who have fallen through the system in some way, have dropped out of high school, or are coming out of the juvenile court system in some way, shape, or form, that we can connect these people with paid training. It's an 8-week program, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. But it's 8 weeks of paid training and experience. And then afterwards, we plan on having a bit of a support group for people who have finished the program as well, to help with job placement and things like that. Like I said, I'll talk about that a little bit more. Truly Reaching You Ministries, Tri Ministries, is running the other cohort every year. And what they do, they are taking folks coming out of the Summit County Jail, and they have a whole, their program already exists, and it's a really good program. They grab people coming out of Summit Jail, and they give them, right now they have construction and general landscaping. So this would be a third career path opportunity, but basically they set these folks up with place to live, transportation, they help cover legal and medical bills, and they get them training and then help them try to find opportunities, employment opportunities as well. So that's a really cool program that we're really excited to work with both these groups in this. So our project partners, our financial partners, so City of Akron is running this grant. We will be kind of handling and managing the project oversight for the next 5 years for this. Akron Zoo and Truly Reaching You Ministries will be doing most of the recruitment and management day-to-day of the individuals going through the workforce development program. Our contributing partners, Summit County Health Department is graciously donating quite a few purple air quality monitors that we will hopefully be installing by this fall, to get a little bit of baseline data before we actually start doing a good chunk of that work in these communities. They're going to host all of that data collection, and they're going to do that data analysis for us. And we're really hoping to use that to give us some type of a measurable on, are these installations helping with air quality? And we know that there's so many different factors, but we're trying to find some types of measurables that we can install. Akron Public Schools and juvenile court system, I already mentioned. The Department of Natural Resources, Division of Forestry will be helping us. They are going to be helping with the academy a little bit. They're going to be helping us with community conversations and finding and sourcing native trees until we have the Tice Road property up and running and we're growing our own. Keep Akron Beautiful, and of course you lovely people on the Tree Commission. And then contractual are forestry educator and a community engagement coordinator. And that is all paid for through the grant. So the community engagement coordinator is I think, a pretty critical role in this. The city will, be working in these communities and talking to these people, but I think sometimes it helps to have somebody who is not from the government, running these meetings or meeting with these people, to actually get, a genuine, authentic conversation. I think, sometimes there's a little bit of mistrust in the government. And so we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to be muting anyone's voices because they're talking to the government. This is our timeline. It's tight and aggressive. And like I said, I will send this to you guys so that you can look at it later. But our 7 major goals are listed there: stakeholder engagement, community involvement, partner engagement, workforce development, the urban forestry work itself, public education outreach, and then grant administration. And so this is just a kind of a generalized time frame that we expect these different tasks to be occurring over the next 5 years. It's going to be busy. So some of our goals for our urban forestry goals, we are really hoping to install 300 to 500 trees annually over the next 5 years. We may not install quite so many trees. We may opt for larger trees, with either a larger caliber or they're just older, so taller, 4 or 5 foot trees, something around the 4 to 5 year old trees. The viability of those trees is a lot better long term than trying to plant a million tiny little seedlings. So we're going to be making that determination on a year-by-year basis, depending on what's available to us from different local nurseries, what we are able to grow ourselves, and what we actually look at and see, oh, hey, we planted all this type of tree and they're just not making it. We're going to avoid those trees. We're going to try something else. So we want to have some flexibility built into the program. And again, we really want to focus on those 5 neighborhoods that we chose in the beginning, that I talked about in the beginning there. Some of these trees will be planted through that workforce development, through those classes, and some of these trees are going to be given away at different events. So had Blue Heron happen this weekend, I have 60 trees I am working on currently trying to find homes for now. And so I did want to bring that to the commission's attention as well. I have found homes for 12 of those trees. But I have river birch, white birch, and dogwoods that will need to find homes that, we were intending to give out as part of the Blue Heron Homecoming Festival. But also, we want to, as this progresses, we want to come out to ward meetings. We want to come out to community events within those neighborhoods to offer free trees, to do tree planting demonstrations, like, long-term tree care, how to help people first put trees in their yards or in their neighborhoods, and second, teach them how to take care of those trees. And I think you guys had mentioned earlier, like the tree of the month, that might be a really cool thing that we could try to like coordinate with some of the trees we give away, even kind of moving through this, if during maybe, well, we could talk about it, but just an idea. So we're focusing on connecting the canopy, reducing urban heat islands, oh my goodness, words, planting food resources, and just improving the general aesthetics of neighborhoods through greening these things up. So community involvement, I kind of talked a little bit about some of all of these things, but I like to have a lot of things covered in the slides. That way, if people don't listen to me talk and they just flip through this, they can still get a pretty good idea of what we were kind of talking about. So public meetings, I want to go out, I want to teach people how to plant trees. I want to teach people why we want natives, why we care about urban canopy and connectedness and into pollinators, all sorts of things. There's a million topics, as you guys are well aware of, that we can talk about. We'll have 2 festivals annually. So the Akron Zoo's Party for the Planet, which happens in April, and then the city's Blue Heron Homecoming, which we are hoping to reschedule in October. As of right now, obviously that did not happen this weekend, but typically happens in June. We will be giving away free trees at both of those events for the duration of this grant. And then, we're really hoping to get some social media stuff out, potentially have a couple different news articles over the course of the grant. Meetings like this, press releases, just whatever we can get the word out, we're gonna try and do that. So the workforce development, I mentioned that this is paid. So this is an 8-week program. They will work, people coming through this program will work 25 hours per week for 8 weeks. They will get classroom training. They will have field training. And it's going to involve just about anything you could think of that has to do with kind of the introduction to urban forestry. And I think in the next slide, I'm going to talk about the Tice Road property, but we're really excited because the city has graciously granted us the ability to use the Tice Road property and create a city tree nursery on that site. And so what that does for...
Excuse me,
Oh, sure.
Jessica, are you aware that we have not seen the slides progress? The
No.
only thing we're seeing is the original slide.
Oh, no. Oh my gosh. These are such good slides too. Oh no, I don't know what I did. You guys should have stopped me like 10 years ago. Oh boy.
I know.
Okay, is that a different slide? I don't use Zoom, I use Teams. So like, I'm so sorry.
That's-
Okay.
we'll see this, and we've already heard you. So I think you can pick
Okay.
up
Yeah,
where you left off.
I am so sorry. That's the timeline. Can you see that one? They are changing on my computer, so I really have no
Yeah.
idea what is happening other than I don't know how to use Zoom. I'm so sorry. Anyway, glad that you let me know that because the maps on the next slide will be helpful. Anyway, so 8-week program, 25 hours a week. Like I said, these people get paid. And it also includes, so like Tri-Ministries, part of their program already includes drivers and things like that. But for the Akron Zoo, we are renting a vehicle, and we'll also be paying Lyft drivers to go and pick these individuals up at their homes every day to make sure that they can get to the training site, so that we're trying to eliminate as many possible barriers to participation in the program. So in addition to urban forestry work that they'll learn, we are also, the City of Akron Human Resources Department has offered to provide soft skills training. So things like how to apply for a job, how to, go to an interview, how to follow up on that, conflict management, verbal and written communication, the things that, will help these folks apply for, get, and keep employment post program. And we're hoping to have at least one day of a job fair style engagement with local businesses, where we invite local businesses to come in and talk to each cohort about the work that they do, when and how and why they hire, and potentially hooking these people up with the best resources possible to get a job at the end of this. Like I said, we're gonna have 6 trainees per season. We're gonna have 2 classes per year, one in the spring and one in the fall. This is also going to include, we will be paying for getting a pesticide license if they are interested in trying for that. So we will do tutoring and help them pay for that testing, drive them to the site to take the test, so that hopefully they can get a license, which makes them more marketable on the job market. And for individuals in either program who do not have a high school diploma, we are also, Akron Public Schools, we're gonna work with them to do some probably Google Classroom style tutoring for passing a GED, and we'll pay for the GED. And they do not have to finish the GED in the 8-week program. We'll pay for them to take that, and they can take each section of the GED separately. And we'll try, funding might be a little tricky as far as transportation outside of the 8-week class, but we will try to get people transportation to take the exams as well. And so that will be available to everyone moving through the program. None of that's mandatory, but we want to make sure that people have these opportunities. Okay, Tice Road. So I'm pretty excited because the Tice Road stuff opens us. Did that change slides? Perfect.
Yes, got project goals?
Yes, does she have a map of the Tice Road property there?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So by having the Tice, so what we're planning on doing with Tice Road, is installing a city nursery. Basically a place where we can take a seed and take it all the way to a 4 or 5-year-old tree that we can then plant someplace else in Akron, to expand our urban canopy. The cool thing, I think, for the workforce development piece is this will give the students something that they might not have an opportunity to experience elsewhere, because now they're going to also get nursery and young plant cultivation, as opposed to just, okay, here's a bunch of trees that came in on a truck, plant those in the ground, come back and check on them, water them, prune them, whatever. They'll actually get the opportunity to kind of start to finish, that whole, we take a seed, we plant it in a hoop house, we let it get so big, we transplant it, et cetera, so forth. It's just going to give them a little bit more experience, a little bit extra terminology, maybe a little bit more of a foot up in the industry, you know, on a job interview or something like that. If they're already familiar with some of these things that, you know, just straight up, let's go, you know, plug in a bunch of trees and keep them alive kind of thing. It's a little bit extra that I'm particularly excited about. And I know that there have been some concerns about the Tice Road property. I know that it was a little bit contentious for the city, but I did want to show everyone the Tice Road property was originally a tree farm. So this is not outside of what it had been in the past. So you can kind of see in 1938, you have all these nice rows of little tiny trees. 1959, you have a pretty established tree farm here. Looks like they made hay or maybe had pasture on that bottom southwest side. And then in the 80s, the family apparently stopped doing tree farming. In 2006, it's pretty much reverting back to kind of a more natural-ish state. But unfortunately, a lot of the parcel is overgrown with invasive species. This gives us another opportunity too, that these students moving through these cohorts can get experience in identification and invasive species control methods as well. We are really only looking at, and I don't know if it's super clear, but there's a little driveway kind of on the northern portion here, and you can kind of see there was a house and a couple of buildings that are no longer on the property. We actually had to remove the rubble. The rubble was still there. Somebody had pushed them down or they fell down. That's where we're going to focus the city nursery. Really, we're only looking at maybe about 7 acres on this about 50-acre parcel. We will have the opportunity to expand a little bit, but really what we would want to do, you know, we do know there's a wet spot down here on the southwest corner of the property, which might in the future be really good opportunity to do some restoration work, like if we were able to find funding to continue this program, as far as the workforce development, you know, maybe we can expand that out into like, oh, well, now here's a little bit of invasive work, here's a little bit of wetland restoration work, to just kind of get people even more experience. It's a really cool property that has a lot of potential for being a super cool urban education or urban forestry green space education center, which is kind of John Malish and I talk about this all the time. We're very excited about all the potential. So here is our budget. We had asked for originally $6.7 million. We were given $1 million. So unfortunately, we had to scale back the program considerably, but we still have a lot of really cool things. And I think we were able to save a lot of the program, the core elements of the program. And I'm really hoping that, you know, we can look for additional funding throughout the course of this, that we can continue to bolster and grow this program. Or find a sponsor, or, you know, we'll see what happens. But excuse me, I'm pretty excited. We're gonna try and stretch this $1 million as far and wide as possible. So our next steps right now, kind of where we're at, we had to revise our budget. The USDA approved that. We are waiting for like them to sign the contract basically, but we've been given the go ahead to start the program as of May 1st. So we've been treating it like it's an already live active program. Once I do have a signed contract back, we will have a kickoff meeting with all of our partners. So I had that partner page that you guys didn't see because this one. So there is our all of our partners who we are working with. Once we determine who our forestry educator and our community engagement coordinator will be, and both of those are being bid out publicly. And once we have a signed contract, we will be bringing everyone together to have kind of basically a kickoff meeting to clarify roles, to make sure that we have open channels of communication. Everybody is clear on the project expectations and goals and timeline. And then kind of from there, the team will make some decisions and we'll kind of chart the course a lot more detail than just kind of this towards, okay, what do the next 4 years past this look like? So that's my presentation. Thank you for your patience with me.
Thank you. I think this is just an absolutely fabulous project. I wish there was a way for us to go back in and get somebody to put in some more money, but we all know how likely that is. So anybody have any questions for Jessica?
Hi, Jessica. I just wanted to say it is a very fabulous program, and I'm excited that you're doing it in the underprivileged communities because it's so needed. So it is awesome. That is very awesome. Awesome.
Thanks. I think it's gonna be so good. I'm really excited about it. I'm really ready to get moving. So I appreciate being able to talk to you guys about the program and get some momentum behind this. That being said, do you guys know where I can offload some native trees in those neighborhoods where we can plant them today?
You said today, huh?
Well, soon because it's really hot and I don't have the staff to take care of these trees, but I have them now.
Are they bare root or bald and burlapped?
They are in 1-gallon containers, so they're 4-foot-ish dogwoods, river birch, and white spire birch.
Okay.
So they're the pots are not super big, which is part of the problem because they dry out very quickly now. And so I have to go water them every day.
Now, do these have to be in the neighborhoods that you spoke about, or you were just giving them out in general?
So as part of the Blue Heron event, we were doing it as a public education campaign, partially about what even Project Acorn is about. Because of the circumstance, because of that, they can go anywhere in Akron. There will definitely be trees, like all the trees that we plant through the workforce development have to go in those communities. And there's a strong preference to focus on putting as many of these trees as possible in those communities. With the short notice, I am willing to find them good homes as long as they'll survive where they go in Akron.
And I'm not trying to do a conflict of interest thing, but this is maybe a way of moving some of those trees. Master Gardeners is having its annual tour of gardens this Saturday. And it involves, it has a thing called the Posy Shop, where people go and they buy plants that we grow. And I would think, although I need to check with the chair, this is kind of off the top of my head, that we may be able to offload some of those trees. Now, there's absolutely no guarantee that they would even
Yep.
govern, but I think it's possible they would get in the ground and survive.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, even just kind of, I've been having people almost just word of mouth to community organizers who I know. I've been like, hey, I have some trees. Have people text me or call me if they have, because that I do need people to promise to plant them and take care of them. It's because this is
Yeah.
grant funds.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yes, if you want though, feel free to have somebody reach out to me or
Can you
reach
send
out.
us your information? So we
Yes.
can, yeah.
Yes. I don't, Patricia, I don't think I have your email, but I have everybody else's here.
Okay, it's, I'll give it to you if you want it.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay, go ahead.
Patricia Wyatt, PATRICIA, Wyatt, WYATT, 721 at sbcglobal.net.
Okay.
Yeah, send me the information. I can get it out. I mean,
Perfect.
I may be interested in even taking when I'm a nonprofit and maybe putting it in our nonprofit. I have a summer camp, maybe teaching the kids about a tree and planting it. So that would be awesome. Awesome. Yeah, give me your information, okay?
Yep, I'll send it out right after.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it.
you're quite welcome, and keep us posted. Oh, the main question is, how can we help other than right now trying to distribute trees? How
Um,
can we help you?
So at the moment, I think that until I think the first thing is, participating in the kickoff event when we get there, because we're going to, I say we, this I'm going to need help with, how to reach out to these communities and who to talk to, and organizing community meetings, organizing I'd like to do a couple over the course of this whole thing, a couple of like community planting demonstrations, or, attending different types of events within these communities and having an opportunity to talk to people or whatever. Also, kind of trying to use this program to also hit your goals, right? So like you talked about tree of the month, is that something that we can make collaborative, right? And is your tree of the month a silky dogwood this month, and I'm got 20 silky dogwoods for you to give away, and then we can do some type of dual education around that. So I think really education, public outreach, community coordination, those are the things that I really see the tree commission kind of being very helpful
Okay.
with us meeting those goals.
Do you have any contacts in any of the areas that you mentioned yet? Are you
Other than council people, I do not.
okay? So Middlebury, I'm familiar with Middlebury. Have you contacted the Whale?
I did email them. I have not had an opportunity to really have conversations with them yet,
Okay.
partially because, we're still in what I'd really like to do is have our kickoff meeting and then have the partners all, everybody who kind of partnered together in the grant writing, in that grant itself. Then we create we create the roadmap of who do we contact? How do we start getting these communities involved? Who are our contacts? How do we build that network out? I think that is kind of critical, to at least to help me, because like right now I don't have really anyone else helping me on this grant on kind of a day-to-day thing. I'm hoping to find somebody else in the city that will help me kind of coordinate, but this is all in addition to my other jobs. So I think if we create a roadmap, like if we have the kickoff meeting, I'm hoping sometime in July or August, hopefully before school starts again, because I want to make sure that we're not putting any roadblocks in the way for Akron Public Schools to, be able to participate. And I know when school starts, schedules get crazy.
Who is your
Um,
public school contact?
Katrina Halasa. Um, so yeah, we'll have the kickoff meeting, and I do plan on during that meeting, like really trying to drill down. It's gonna be a long one. I'm planning on 4 hours, more than likely. But I think that we will be busy the whole time. You know, we're gonna try and really set this whole program up for success by creating a really cohesive plan to move forward.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jessica.
Mhm.
Thank
Very
you.
Welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting.
I
But
actually have to go deliver some trees.
Go deliver those trees.
I'm going to. Thank you so much again, guys. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. That's exciting.
Very exciting.
And one of the pluses for this, because I know the Tice Road property has been a point of contention for quite a while. I do think that the Preserve the Valley folks will be pleased that it's going to be a tree farm. You know, no chance somebody's going to come in here and bulldoze. So kill two birds with one stone on that one. Okay. Next on the list, Casey Shevlin and I also talked about the potential of expanding the size of the tree commission. This is not anything written in stone. We're just, you know, this, I suppose you could be the first pebble in the pond and see how it radiates out. The advantages would, and these two would be community members. The advantages, it brings in new people, new ideas, you know, hopefully some new knowledge, so that as we work, we have input from a lot of different people. The other thing is that, and I'm not saying I'm going anywhere, but I'm not getting any younger. And there's going to come a time I'm going to have to be replaced. And I want to be sure that there's a good pool of people to draw from. Now, we're not talking anymore, you know, 2026 would be the end of my, let's see, 24, 23, 24, 25. So the end of 25. And then I can reevaluate. However, I think we could, I think we could do better work. Hi, yes, you, Francia.
Good afternoon, Sarah and Commission. I just want, just to your last point, what does the document that governs our body, what does that speak to as far as expansion? Or can we just make a
It does
decision?
not, it does not speak to expansion at all. This is something that we would have to take to city council. You know, and I'm sure it has to go to the law department first. There's lots and lots of things that would go into this. Plus, you know, conversation and discussion and, you know, things like that. But I like the idea.
Mhm.
And you know, I'm always comforted knowing that there are many eyes on something. So I just wanted to bring that up so that if it comes up again, you're not blindsided.
So is it already on the table, or so can we put it on the table to work on that for new business, expanding the board? Is that already in motion, or do we need to put it on?
Yeah, we need to get a little bit more you know, I've been at a loss for words lately. But I'd like for us to turn it over a little bit more, just to make sure this is something we know we want to do. You know, we need to answer questions like, because right now, the majority of the members are employed by the city of Akron. Is that the intent of the legislation? Meaning, if we were to expand, does that mean we would only add one more community member and we need to add another city of Akron employee? That's something we don't know. And how that process would be, you know, somebody council member would need to introduce the legislation. And of course, that would be Jeff. So anyway, this is just something I wanted to put out there. And, you know, I can, at this point, although it's not new business yet, I can keep on the agenda so that we keep talking about it. Unfortunately, given the open meetings rules, we can't talk about it, you know, amongst ourselves, which would really make the most sense. So, you know, I'm not quite sure how we're going to handle that. Anyway, maybe Sarah will just keep that. We'll make it new business for next month. And if, you know, whatever information we've gotten in the meantime, we'll just go into that conversation. And I do believe that that's it for my agenda. Anybody have anything for the good of the order?
Oh, I just am excited about that program. That was a very nice presentation and just really nice.
Yeah.
How
Because
exciting.
yeah, she's worked her tail off on that.
And I can tell that
Yeah.
is exciting.
Well, and imagine taking a $6 million budget, paring it down to $1 million and still feeling like it can do something, you know, that is so hard.
And amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Well, and you know, this is one of the things that as master gardeners we teach is the importance of being in nature for, you know, physical and mental health. And I would think that young people from those neighborhoods would need to spend some time in nature. So,
Beautiful.
pardon?
I said,
Yeah.
I love it. I'm sorry they didn't bring it on the north side.
Okay. Well, if I hear no more suggestions for business, I will adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you all.
You all have a good